Hello, hello. Just gonna wait a few seconds. Okay. Okay. Welcome to Mindful Moments. I'm really happy to have you all here today. If you're not able to join us today, then just catch the replay, and it will be in Guide 4. Today we're going to do our mindfulness exercise to start with, as usual, and then we're going to talk about one of the sage five, or the five sage powers, explore, and we're going to get into some of the details about how that power really helps us navigate our life, and the challenges that we go through in life. So let's get started with our mindful moment, and let's just let's just get started with it. And I invite you to close your eyes now as we transition into our PQ reps. I want you to shift your attention away from your busy thoughts and begin to focus instead on your body. Feel the weight of your body on your seat. Feel the weight of your feet on the floor. Take a few deep breaths and notice the rising and falling of your chest or stomach with each breath. Relax back into the natural rhythm of your breath. Notice the temperature of the air as it enters your nostrils and the temperature of air as it exits your nostrils. You may become aware of the sensations in your nostrils and how they change with the inhale and the exhale. Let go of any thoughts as they come and keep refocusing on your physical sensations. Don't worry about your thoughts interrupting this time. It's not a failure, it's completely natural. Just keep refocusing on your physical sensations. Now gently rub two fingers against each other with such intention that you can feel the fingertip ridges on both fingers. Notice any texture changes from one area to the other. Continuing to breathe. Shifting a little, begin by gently rubbing all your fingertips against one hand and all the fingertips against the other hand. All the way up and down the palm. Really feeling all the different sensations of touch. Now bring your attention to the sounds around you, noticing the ones that are furthest away. Now bring your attention to the sounds that are closest to you, perhaps even your breathing. Once again, noticing the rise and fall of your chest or stomach as you breathe. Taking your last couple deep breaths, feeling more relaxed with each one. Clearing your mind. And when you are ready, open your eyes and come back to the room. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for engaging in that activity. I really hope that it helps rejuvenate you for the rest of your afternoon, helps you refocus your attention on whatever tasks you have for this afternoon, and really bring clarity for your day to come. Now I'd like to really get more engaged in furthering our discussion in what we started last week about the five sage powers, which was the sage perspective. And today I really want to dig deeper into one of the sage powers, and in our other mindful moments, we will dig into more and more powers as we go. So today we're going to engage in the explore power. What that is, what we use it for, and what it helps us with. So the explore power is really what they like to call the beginner's mind. It creates deep curiosity. It wants to discover anything without fear or agenda regarding what is being discovered. The discovery in itself is the reward, and nothing further is really needed. That is how it is explained. Now, when do we need this power? We need this power when we need this power when we need to know what is important to know about a certain situation, or before coming to a conclusion, decision, or an action. So, when we are trying to come up with, like I said, a conclusion, decision, or action, we want to really tap into that explore power so we can really discover what are those key elements that we need to know before we get into that. Now, how do we really facilitate getting into this power? Because, okay, that's great. We know that we have these powers in our mind, but how do we access these things, right? You've heard me talk about our saboteurs, which we will definitely get into in later discussions. And we will tap into it a little bit further in this discussion of how it can hinder the process. But how do we access these great powers that we want to all the time? So there's certain things that we can do that can quiet our saboteurs and really allow us to engage in the sage perspective. So to kind of refresh your memory, we have two parts of our brains. We have where the saboteurs live, which is our, our kind of our negative mind frame. It's our survival brain. And then we have our sage mindset, and that is more our like frontal cortex. It's our thinking brain. It is where all our positive energy comes from. So they're really two different regions of the brain. Now, a lot of times, especially these days, we often are living in that survival brain area. And so it hinders our process of really getting really good foresight into situations, conclusions, decisions, and actions, because we're constantly battling this survival brain and we're not seeing our true sage perspective. And so we need to learn how to quiet down this survival brain, or what we like to call our saboteurs, and be able to activate this sage perspective, which has our five sage powers, and utilize those to be able to make our conclusions, decisions, and actions. So we're able to go forth with a clearer, more clarified mindset that is more positive, that has more clear action, that is aligned more with what our um, true missions are, our values, that isn't stopping us by self doubt, by any kind of negative force that is making you, yeah, basically doubt yourself and stopping you from the possibilities. So that's kind of the short version of that. So, how do we facilitate this? Sorry, one second. So, how do we facilitate this and get access to these sage powers? So, with each sage power, we have three different power what we have a power gain, we have a power guide, and a power move. So these are our three different ways to activate this mindset. So being able to basically stop the saboteurs and engage in this mindset, get it going, so we're able to use our clarity in that mind. So our power game for the explorer, now in each one of our sage powers, it's going to be a different power game, it's going to be a different power guide, and it's going to be a different power move to be able to activate that specific um, power. So there's the explore power, there's the innovate power, there's the empathy power, so on and so forth. So they're all going to have their own little games, guides, or moves to be able to activate them. So for the explorer power game, it's called the Fascinated Anthropologist. Now, you can also think of this as like a fascinated child that's on a beach and that's, discovering what's under the next rock, right? So you want to be very fascinated of what you can discover, without hindering yourself about the what could go wrong, or stopping yourself with the what ifs, or hindering any process of limitations. You want to just explore all the possibilities, be fascinated with all the possibilities without putting limitations on it. So that is the explore power game, is just being fascinated. So like I said, the anthropologist, or think of it as this child that's on the beach, that's constantly flipping the rocks, that is just exploring to see what kind of crabs or fish or shells or whatever they can find on that beach, right? So, what can we discover? What can we really dig into? How far can we explore this situation without hindering the thought process and without putting limitations on it? The next one is using the power guide. So, how would my power guide feel, act in this situation, is something you can ask yourself. Now, the my power guide, this is something that you're going to come up with. So, you're going to think to yourself, in your explore mode, who would be your power guide for exploring? So you might have a mentor or someone that's inspirational to you, that you would think that really explores all options without limitations, right? So you might think of them, or maybe it's yourself in a if you think of yourself in a different way. So let's say you think, okay, what would I think if, like, just put it in this way, okay? What would I think if I had endless possibilities? Say it's a situation where you know you have limited funds, but you want to think of it in a way where you're not limited by funds. So in this you could say, how would I think of this if I had endless amounts of money and I could blah 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 blah. You finish that sentence, right? So now you're thinking about the situation with limited amounts of money. So then you're not limiting yourself to any processes. You are opening up your mind to all of the possibilities. As soon as we put limitations on our thought process, it really takes that blank page and it makes it so daunting. It starts when you start thinking of something, you automatically go, oh well, I can't do that because of this and this. Oh, I can't do that because this and this. So we have to start opening the doors in order to allow us to think out of the box, to think of things beyond what our possible limitations are. And in that, we end up discovering so many other opportunities that we do end up finding a way to make them possible. The next one is the use of our power move. Now, this is a little bit different as well. It's because we're going to shift our body into the physicality that helps you trigger the power. So, this is explore. So, as you get better and better with accessing this power, you will notice that there's a certain physicality in you that will represent the explore mode for you. So you'll notice that when I introduced the fascinated anthropologist, I really lit up and I was like, or the child with looking under the rocks, right? Like I really lit up my face and I really got into the explore mode. And that was not only thinking as a child exploring, but I was also getting into the physicality of what that explore feels like. I was excited, I was really feeling it, and that was allowing my mind to really get into that headspace of, oh my gosh, okay, what can I really come up with in this situation? It was allowing me to open up my mind to the possibilities rather than thinking of all the things that could hinder this process or the things that could stop me. So that's what the power move means, is really taking on that physicality, and it's going to be different for everyone. Now, you have these three different modes that you can go through. As time goes on, you will innately figure out which one of these resonates more for you. You might feel like the explore power game of the fascinated anthropologist, or like I said, the child on the beach with the rocks, is the one that works the best for you, and that's the only one that you end up using. That is totally fine. You just pick the ones that work for you and resonate for you, and that's the one that you will go with. If the power guide works for you, then that's the one that you go to. And maybe in different situations, you use different ones, and that is totally fine too. You have these different options, so you're able to pick and choose what works for you and what doesn't, because everyone is unique and we all have different ways of thinking. And so this allows you to really personalize the way that you're able to activate your mind and use your powers individually. So the explore emotions, or the emotions rather, that go with the explore mode is really curiosity, fascination, openness, and awe and wonder. So these are just, it's like being a little child. That's why I use that explanation is these are childlike thoughts, right? When we're a child and we're thinking of the possibilities or using our imagination, they aren't limited, right? They use all these possibilities because they haven't been exposed to all the limitations in life yet. So they are so open and fascinated with all the possibilities that and awe and wonder that they really are able to really explore situations. And so that is the type of mind frame that you want to get into when you are in this mode. um Now I wanted to go into each saboteur and the limits that it can propose onto the exploration mode. It can provide very narrow viewpoint on your exploration when you allow the saboteurs to come in. It will make you want to avoid discovering different viewpoints. So, if you are having a hard time with discovering, then you will know that you have saboteurs that are there in the forefront. So, a good way to counteract that is to do like we did at the beginning of this video. We did PQ reps, so that was really calming our minds, getting our PQ brain activated, as well as doing one of the power moves, games, modes, doing all of those. And then we can try to get back into that sage perspective. So let's kind of just do a quick overview of the saboteur interference. I am going to read this for you, and that will wrap up this explanation. So, how the saboteurs interfere with the explorer mode. So, we have our judge. Now, this limits our exploration to discovering more negatives. So the judge really stops you and makes you realize that you can't do this because this is going to happen, right? The avoider limits exploration by avoiding discovering unpleasant things to become things to be confronted. The controller selective exploration to avoid losing control of the narrative. The hyperachiever explores within narrow constraints of the achievements targeted. The hyper-rational exploration narrowed to the rational channel. So that means that he'll never see anything that isn't rational in their brain. They have to rationalize everything, otherwise it's out the door. Hypervigilant, the anxious mind, doesn't notice unexpected opportunities. Pleaser, distortion through personal lens. You're wanting to please everyone else. So if it looks like not everyone will be pleased, you're going to throw that idea out the door. Restlessness, might not explore deeply enough before moving on to the next thing. You don't want to dig too deep because you're constantly looking for the next shiny thing. Stickler might explore you might explore all the little details that aren't essential. Victim, major confirmation bias, explores only what confirms the victim status. So if you aren't being placed in the victim status, you're going to ignore all the other options. So this is a quick explanation of what the Explorer can help you with. It really can help us in many situations when we're wanting to come up with conclusions, decisions, etc. in our life, when we want to get a conclusion and a decision without being sabotaged by our saboteurs. These are ways that we can really tap into those powers and get those really good um, conclusions to our problems. And it's just so exciting because there's so much. Well, first off, our brains are amazing things. Like, it's amazing that we can actually intercept our saboteurs. Let's just put that out there first and foremost. Being able to have that power to intercept our saboteurs and lean more into our positive brain is an amazing feat in its own. Once we learn how to do that, the possibilities are endless. This is one of the first steps, is just learning what all the different powers are, learning what the saboteurs are, and then being able to intercept them. So as we learn all these different definitions, what they are, what they do, how we get in control of them, as time goes on and we kind of practice them, acknowledge them, understand which ones are our highest saboteurs, how we notice them. You're going to really notice all these different mind shifts and how we can utilize them in our lives, in our business, how we can really gain clarity and innovation and creativity through being able to stop the saboteur from limiting you, to being able to engage in that sage perspective and using all of those 5 powers for different situations. It's really going to open up your world into much brighter future, and you're going to see so many more possibilities going forward. So, anyways, that is today's lesson, and next week we will move on to the next sage power. So I hope to see you next week, and thanks for listening, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.